Ask them questions about what they most don't like. What didn't you like about your last job? What did you hate in your career history that you would never want to go back to? I want to stir that emotion. I want to see what they're passionate about. A passionate person is a caring person. I honestly think between the income squeeze, the challenges and difficulties of getting paid in full the first time and getting paid in a timely manner, and the staffing shortage and the personnel troubles and difficulties and challenges of finding the best and the brightest for long-term retention are really the top 3 challenges that we all face in physical therapy right now. And what I'd like to do is just go through a little bit of a Q&A with you guys on number 3. Finding the best and brightest, building a company culture around them, and enabling yourself the opportunity of retaining them so that you're not feeling like you're on this hamster wheel of hiring and firing, hiring and resigning over and over again. Do you know it's been said, based on numerous surveys, that the average amount of revenue that you're going to lose having a non-clinician position turnover within your practice is going to be about $13,000 to $17,000 between lost production, lost training, lost revenue, and everything that comes along with that. If it's a physical therapist, it could be easily $23,000 or more. So let's just say safely between $10,000 and $15,000 just to be conservative. You want to save $10,000 to $15,000? Here's some tips and here's some suggestions of what you can do that's really going to save you that kind of money. Number 1, Brian, I get this question all the time. Brian, should I be interviewing people through Zoom or should I still have people coming into my practice for getting interviewed? All of your interviews should be in person, live, inside your practice whenever humanly possible. Now, if you're recruiting somebody from out of state, obviously you're going to want to have them, they'll send their resume in, you're going to reach back out to them, you're going to have a phone conversation first, which we call the phone screen. And then the very next thing you're going to do is a Zoom. The Zoom is the best thing you can do when they're beyond 100 miles from you and they're looking to move into the area or whatnot. But if anybody is in your zip code and they have the ability to come in, you have them come in. 3 main reasons why you want to do that. Number 1, you want to assess their responsibility level. Are they showing up on time? Are they professionally dressed? Are their mannerisms appropriate to the setting? Are they speaking and articulating and enunciating their terms properly? This all matters because you have a culture that you're building, you have a brand that you're representing, and you want to make sure that this new employee is going to represent your brand. I was just on the phone with a practice owner who has 5 or 6 clinics doing quite well and said, hey, to solve this recruiting issue, I just hired a full-time recruiter instead of outsourcing it to work inside my practice and do all my ad writing, all my phone screens, and do all my preliminary interviews, and then they flip them to me. I'm like, great, how well is that working for you? He's like, not so good. I'm like, that person has no vested interest in your business. That person has no history of your practice, of your brand, of where you came from, of what you believe in. They are simply just spitting out words and communicating things to the person with no heart and soul behind it. You must, in my opinion, perform all of your face-to-face interviews, all of your Zoom interviews, because you're the one hiring this person. They're coming to work on your team. I don't like to think of people working for me as much as I do with me. Well, how do I know I want to date this person and let them into my neighborhood and possibly engage them and let them be part of my family because I'm going to marry them as an employee if I haven't met them or I haven't gotten to read right from the beginning or I haven't allowed myself to be transparent for them to read who I am. People like to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And you're denying them that when you're not doing the interviews. So to that question, my answer is always put yourself out there. I know it's extra work. I know it's extra time, but they deserve it. They will appreciate it. And likewise for you too. This is too important of a decision for you not to be the frontline face and representative of your company. If you're the clinical director, the regional manager, the owner, the partner, you need to be involved in that interview process. Number 2 reason, bring them in person because you need to give them a tour. They need to be comfortable with the environment. Is it clean, safe, neat, orderly, organized? All of that is going to give them positive emotions as to why they should work for you over somebody else. You are denying them that connection, that reality, if you will, of how in fact you conduct your practice and how you conduct your business and treat your patients by them not being in your clinic and actually seeing it. And people say, I can walk around my phone and FaceTime. Yeah, you can, but it's not the same thing. Number 3, when you do the interview is a discussion. People will ask me questions. So, Brian, what do you say and do in the interview that makes it so successful for you to close the best people to work for you? I say, because I'm not negotiating. The answer is, what do I do and say? I do and say nothing. I sit and have a conversation. I communicate with them about them. I ask them what they like, where they've been, what do they enjoy most, what brought them to this area, where do they see themselves in 5 years, where do they see themselves today, what are they most looking for and interested that brings them the greatest satisfaction in their day-to-day life, weekly life, and it could be anything. It could be Frisbee football for all I care. I want to hire the being. I want to hire the person. I'm not hiring the resume. So I asked them that. I asked them, what is the most important thing in the aspect of the job, pay, compensation, benefit package that they're most interested in? Is it pay? Is it benefits? Is it retirement? Is it, short-term, long-term disability, which nobody says that? Is it tuition reimbursement? Have them answer the questions that are most relevant to them finding the next best home. Ask those questions. Ask them questions about what they most don't like. What didn't you like about your last job? What did you hate in your career history that you would never want to go back to? I want to stir that emotion. I want to see what they're passionate about. A passionate person is a caring person. I want to see that. I don't want a monotone person. I don't want somebody who's bored. I don't want somebody who's sitting there knowing best. I don't want that. So ask those emotional questions. Then what do you love about being a physical therapist? What brought you into the profession of physical therapy? Those are 2 really great questions. Why did you choose physical therapy over something else? What was it that you're striving for that you couldn't get in another profession? It's another great question. Are you passionate? Are you all about learning, or are you all about being Mr. Know-it-all or Mr. Know Right or Know Best, right? I don't know. I don't want to hire somebody and have them come in my sandbox and then they throw sand at me and others. The whole reason for the interview is to see, do you share the same attitude that I have about administering physical therapy with our community and the patients within our community? That's what my questions are about. That's what I'm leading toward. How much of themselves are they willing to reveal in this interview process? Let's say I like it. Great training, good communicator, they initiate thoughts and ideas well, they're forward thinking, they're wanting to wear a jersey and be a solid team player. Can I, in the process of running the interview, get to the point where I feel like this person understands 2 major things? I have to really get comfortable that they understand. Number 1, that the individual member of any team only wins after the team is winning. Do they get that concept? Do they really get that? Because that's what I want to hire. I don't want to hire the person who's like, hey, as far as I'm getting paid and my tuition's getting covered and I'm doing well, whether I'm busy or not, that's how it is. I don't want that. I don't want somebody to come here and exchange time for money. Super, super duper important. That leads me to number 2. Do they have a responsibility level high enough to assume the responsibility for the 2-way street? And I will actually give a lecture. I have a handout in Meg Academy. This is what I give all of my people. I have a lecture on the 2-way street. I show a picture on one end of the paper is their house, picture on the other end of the paper is our clinic, and I show these little Toyota Camry going from the house to the clinic, because 99% of all physical therapists drive a Toyota Camry or a Honda Accord. So I have this, and I have a U-Haul truck going in the other way, and I say, okay, so every 2 weeks, I am driving from the clinic to your house, and I'm going to dump off a bunch of cash. Whether that comes to you in the course in the form of benefits or time off or paycheck, doesn't matter. All of that is your compensation. If I'm going to offer you an $80,000 a year position, I have to add $11,000 to cover the benefits, right? So you're really getting a $91,000 position. So that's my obligation. That's my responsibility, is make sure that you're getting that fraction of that compensation every 2 weeks. Now, what are you responsible for? What is your exchange in abundance with our group in exchange of that compensation? 3.75 billable units, 85% clinical efficiency, super high net promoter score of a 9 or better, patient satisfaction surveys in the 90th percentile of happiness and satisfaction, outcomes in the 90th percentile. I am going to list out exactly what you're going to do and what your performance level expectations are for you to be in the top 10% of your practice license while working here. And if that person knows that you mean business and that you're going to elevate everybody's game to the point that everyone's practicing the top 10% of their license, I want to be a part of that. How are you going to do that? What kind of mentoring are you doing? What kind of professional enhancement are you doing? What kind of Con Ed program are you doing? What are you doing to invest in me as an employee to see that I'm expanding and growing both personally and professionally? That is what people are going to really sign on the dotted line for. That is what's going to distinguish your clinic separate from everybody else up and down the road. People can throw sign-on bonuses and big salaries out there every single day. That doesn't mean that they're giving you a happy home. Doesn't mean you're getting a happy home. If you can communicate happy home with a competitive benefit package, you will succeed every time. I'll end with this. I personally believe if you're not offering a pay-for-performance model, not a share risk model, but a pay-for-performance model, then you're not enabling yourself and your clinic to attract the best and the brightest. You're just not. You're looking for people who are most likely just happy getting a salary, happy sticking in second gear, maybe third gear, but they're never going to push it to fourth and fifth gear. They're getting their benefits and salary, whether it's working or not. I'm getting paid anyways. Push your practice to attract the people who are highly motivated, income independent, and autonomous in their way of thinking, because that's what the pay-for-performance model is going to do for you. So I hope these tips on recruiting and landing the person for the job, for the position, I was kind of heavily leaning on clinicians in this discussion, but the same rules kind of apply for the non-clinician as well. So if this is what you're after, and you can write a good ad and you can get them responding to that ad, you have to close 85% of your people, and you should be right 85% of the time. That way there, you're off the merry-go-round of turnover. That's what you want, right? So there you go. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you enjoy these YouTube videos. I'm going to be shooting many, many more, and I'm going to be continuing to help you with this Q&A format so that you can get the answers to the most leading questions that I hear each and every week. Take care, everybody. Start every day expecting to do well.